Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. The Zillow housing market crash has begun once again as we finally have over half of the top U.S. metro areas facing year-over-year price decline at the same time where we have record-breaking price cuts. That's right, you guys. Sellers are absolutely slashing the prices of their houses because they are desperate to sell, as inventory is also above where we were at pre-pandemic. So I'm going to go over all of the most recent details from Zillow, and then I'm also going to show you guys how to find out if you're getting a good deal in your own housing market by pulling up my MLS and showing you guys how to use the math to find the deal. Let's start by going over June's housing market report from Zillow, and this just came out today, you guys, August 18th of 2025. A few key takeaways. Buyers continue to gain leverage as affordability challenges keep competition low. Now, 27 major metros are in buyers' favor or neutral, and that is up from 24 last month. And this is absolutely great news because traditionally, around this time of year, house prices are still going up. Bullet point number 2, listings are lingering. The median for sale home has been listed for 60 days, 2 months. That's crazy. The longest of any July in Zillow data. So we have a record-breaking homes also sitting on the market. Very important piece of data to pay attention to. Bullet point number 3, sellers cut prices on 27.4% of listings, a record high in Zillow data that stretches all the way back to 2018. So we have several records this month that are all complimenting buyers. But remember, you guys, hang on for the math part of this, because even with this being said, some states are going to take longer than other states, and some markets are going to take longer than other markets to crash and correct. But understand, no matter the area that you're interested in purchasing, the math is always the same. When we dig into the details, this is what Zillow is saying. Price cuts reach record highs. Sellers cut prices again on 27.4% of listings in July. That's the highest share since Zillow began tracking this metric in 2018. Cuts are more common in the South and the mountain regions and are less widespread in markets more favorable to sellers in the Northeast and on the West Coast. Zillow's Market Heat Index shows competition among buyers continues to decline nationwide, not just in Texas, not just in Florida, but competition is winding down across the nation. Obviously, it took long enough, right, guys? Comment below. Did it take long enough or not? My gosh. And also comment below and let me know, have you maintained your purchasing power and your patience? Let me know below. This is reaching the lowest point, again, for any July going all the way back to 2018. 27 major markets are either balanced or in the buyer's favor, 3 more than last month and 9 more year over year. The housing market right now on a nationwide average is crashing. The only thing that could temporarily prop it up is more quantitative easing, like what happened in 2023. It was called the Bank Term Funding Program, as well as the reverse repo market that's still in effect. But listen to this, guys. Take a look at this. Listings linger unless priced right. Homes are taking longer to sell than in recent summers, and the gap between attractive listings that sell and others that linger is growing. Listings that sold in July did so in 24 days. 6 days slower than last year, but just 1 day longer than the pre-pandemic average for July, so longer than it was pre-pandemic. Think about what this is saying. Why isn't everyone jumping up and down like, yeah, it's finally in the data if we've been patient? Why isn't everyone jumping up and down in excitement? Maybe because they own a house. I don't know. However, the median lifespan of all listings on Zillow is 60 days, 4 more than the pre-pandemic average. It's worse than pre-pandemic now. Finally, the gap between these two figures is the largest for any July in Zillow data, which began again collecting data in 2018, which is not true. They've been collecting data since at least the global financial crisis. This is for sale inventory, and I want you to pay attention to the year of 2020 right here. So right now we have 1.38 million active listings on the market right now. That is a 6-year high, and we have now more inventory. You go back to January of 2020 at 1.28 million. We have more inventory now than we did pre-pandemic. Okay, so price cuts hitting record, homes leaning on the market hitting a record, half of major metros with price decline. Come on, you guys, it's becoming clearer and clearer that the housing market right now is crashing. But again, it depends on your market. Don't forget that. When we go down to home values, this is what this says. The typical U.S. home value is $367,965. The typical monthly mortgage payment, assuming a 20% down payment, is $1,907. Home values climbed month over month in 28 of the 50 largest metros, with the biggest gains in Buffalo at 1.5, and that's month over month, Hartford at 1.2 month over month, Detroit 1.2, Cleveland 1.1, and Pittsburgh 1.1. However, home values fell on a monthly basis in 19 major metro areas. The largest monthly drop was in San Jose, California, down 1.1%. Then San Francisco, California, down 0.7%. Then Miami, Florida, down 0.6%. Austin, Texas, down 0.6%, and Tampa, Florida, also down 0.6%. But let's look at the year-over-year information. Home values are up from a year ago in half, or 25 of the 50 largest metro areas. Annual price gains are the highest in Cleveland, Ohio, at 4.7%. And remember, not always, but traditionally, it costs 8% to sell your house, 6% in total realtor fees, and 2% for closing costs, which means Cleveland didn't even make enough money to afford to sell their house. So although it's up, that's good. It's not even up enough to cover the fees to sell. Hartford is number 2, up 4.5%. Louisville is up 3.9%. Detroit 3.8%, and Buffalo is up 3.7%. Now, home values are down year over year in 25 of major metro areas. The largest drops were actually in Tampa, Florida, down 6.2%. That's a massive decline year over year. Also, Austin down 6% year over year. Miami down 4.6% year over year. Orlando down 4.3%, and Dallas down 3.9% year over year. So what will probably happen is this time next year, what you guys see right here is going to be littered with metro areas, potentially with double-digit price decline. When we go to inventory, new listings decreased actually, which is not good, 4.3% month over month. Again, that is not good for the month of July. New listings did increase 5.3% this month compared to last year. So year over year, it is up still 5.3%. New listings are still 20.6% lower than pre-pandemic levels. You got to note here, that's not total inventory. That's just new listings. And a predominant reason that is rate lock, right? Or the golden handcuff effect. Total inventory in July increased by 0.2% from last month. The median age of inventory, the typical time since the initial list date for active for sale listings, was 60 days. That is incredible. There was 17.8% more listings active in July year over year. Inventory levels, again, are 19.2% lower than pre-pandemic levels for the month. Price cuts and shares sold above a list. 27.4% of listings in July had a price cut. That's the largest share in Zillow data, stretching back through 2018, and that is up from 26.5% in June. There are 1.1% more listings with price cuts compared to last year. 30.9% of homes sold above their list price in June. That's compared to 31.2% the month before and 35.3% year over year. So that is slowing down, but that also shows you guys how some markets and some states are still bifurcated. And actually in some markets, prices are actually still going up. So don't forget, you got to do the math no matter where you live. Now, when we go to new pending sales, obviously it's a dumpster fire in the housing market right now, with newly pending listings decreased by 1% in July from the month prior. Newly pending listings increased by 2.4% year over year. So that's pending, that's not closed. Median days to pending, the typical time since the initial list date for homes that went under contract in a month, is at 24 days in July, and that is up 4 days month over month. Now, the next part of this video is so vital that you guys pay attention, because I'm going to show you guys how to use the math to find the right deal. And I'm also going to point out a couple pitfalls, and I'm going to give you information on Rome, which helps you with assumable mortgages. As you guys know, I can find properties right now 30-40% under market value. But when I do the analysis and I look at the cash flow, it's always too high, because in my metro area, the property tax is absolutely bonkers, as is the homeowner's insurance. So I'm going to show you how to potentially get around that by doing an assumable mortgage. But let's start here. Go to realestatemindset.org for free. Scroll down here and download this form called Subdivision Analysis Form. If you want to know how to use it and you don't already know, click this free course right here, and it's going to teach you how to do the math. And I've been doing this, you guys, for over 20 years. So it's very important. Here's what the form is going to look like, and here's what we're going to fill out right now. Now, I've already filled out some of this. I put the subdivision of the home, which is Foster's Mill Village. I put the market price per square foot, the purchase price, and the size of the house. Let me show you how I did that. The first thing I want to show you guys is how many listings are on my MLS, because you got to filter this data down. It's way too much data. And look at this, you guys, for har.com, there are 72,000 different homes being sold. That is absolutely incredible. 72,000. Let me show you how to filter it. I added a field on the bottom that you guys can't see right here that only shows me listings with the price per square foot. It's a nice little trick. This is not how you determine value, but it is a nice trick. So I put in price per square foot, 100 to 120, and that takes 72,000 listings and turns it into 2,900 listings. So the odds are that these 2,900 listings are all under market value. So I can block out all of the noise and all of the people trying to sell their house, because I only want a house that has 30% wedge, meaning I'm walking into that house with 30% of equity. So if the housing market goes down 30%, I should be well insulated. You can see the map is much more condensed. And what I'll do, guys, is I'll go to Kingwood, because this is where I've been keeping you guys pretty much the whole time. And we're going to zoom into this listing right here, because this listing is also on Rome, because it has an FHA mortgage that you could potentially assume. So the first thing I want to point out again is the subdivision. We have to do a subdivision analysis first and foremost of Foster's Mill Village. But I've already taken the purchase price of the house. I've taken the size of the house. I've written down the subdivision as well. And I put that all on this form right here, as you can see. But now what I got to show you is this part right here, which is the market home value for this subdivision up here per square foot. And it's important to understand, again, that's not how you derive value, but it is a nice little trick to filter the data so that this is a lot easier for us. It's already so complicated. I put copy and paste, and it's Foster's Mill Village. You guys see that right here. Now, if this was my house, I would go back several years to see how much the home prices went up each year so I can see the trends. But for the sake of this video, I'm only going to do sold in the last 360 days. As you guys can see here, which it gives me 32 different listings. Now pay attention to this next part, because this is very important. So I'm going to categorize this first of all by size per square foot. Now, in case you guys didn't notice, I put right here the size of the subject property in Foster's Mill Village is 3,249 square feet. So when I'm doing my analysis, I want to stick to relatively the same size. So I'm going to use a variance up and down of about 300 feet. So when I categorize this by price per square foot, I know which comps, because these are all sold properties, to select. So I've selected them all so far, and I'm going to unselect the ones that are more than 300 square feet away from the square footage of the primary residence. Okay, so I'm unchecking all of those. So I have comps number 8 through 25. Then I'm going to hit stats and tabular, and this is going to calculate the price per square foot average. So you guys see right here that the market average hyper local for this property in the subdivision is $159.45 a square foot. So I go back here and you see that I've updated this to $159.45. Now all I have to do, and this is very easy, you guys, I'm going to do the math right now. So I take the size of the house right here, okay, and I multiply it by the market price per square foot, because we know this is being sold for under market value. And I'm going to give you guys a little clue why. It's because it's over assessed by 6 digits. Taxes on this house as if it was a $500,000 house, not a $350,000 house. So these people are being taxed out of their house. Anyways, I'll show you that here in a minute. I take the size of the house, 3,249, times the market price per square foot of 159.45, gives me a gross value. This is insane right here, but it gives me a gross value of 518,053. Okay, so I subtract the purchase price of 350. Gives me wedge, gross wedge, because it may need upgrade. It doesn't need upgrades. I've looked at the house. It's actually a super nice house. This gives me wedge of $168,000. The housing market's bifurcated. That's how you find homes that are 6 digits under market value. Let me show you guys why I haven't put an offer on this yet. Going back to the listing, remember this house is listed for $350,000. Let me show you how much the county has assessed it for, because it's absolutely mind-boggling that they're getting away with this. Look at this, guys. So if I buy this house right now, I can't cash flow because the property taxes are too high. I would have to fight the assessment value next year to get it down to $350,000, which is a difference of over $150K. This house is being taxed for $503,180. So I can't cash flow. And the insurance is almost $4,000 a month. But what I might do is I might fight the assessment value next year. When I go to Rome, ROAM.com, it's a company that helps with assumable mortgages. This house is listed on Rome, meaning if I have enough money to pay for the gap, the difference between the existing loan and the sales price, I can buy this property for $600 cheaper per month. So if you guys go into here, you'll see the payments about $2,623 at a 3.625 interest rate. So I can assume this loan. This is absolutely insane. Now, when I scroll down here, it shows you right here, there's an FHA loan on it for $297,000, and they've already paid over 5 years. So not only would I assume a mortgage, and as you can see here, it's about $600 cheaper, okay, than this payment right here from a normal bank. So not only would my payment be $600 cheaper, I would also have 5 years of the loan paid off. But the problem is the sale is $350,000, but the loan is only $297,000, which means I have to bring the difference to the table to close. If you guys want to come here, go to Rome, and all you have to do is just put the zip code or wherever you want to look and see what comes up. So 77379, and look at this. All of these homes right here, and it gives you the monthly payment, okay, have a mortgage that's potentially assumable. Comment below, because I've showed you not only how to get the wedge, I showed you a platform where you could potentially assume a mortgage. But be warned, doing so, there's a little bit more fees up front. Plus, the entire transaction can take 90 days. So you have to find a seller that's willing to play ball. And guess what, you guys? It's a buyer's market, at least in my market. So I can find sellers like that probably all day. Now, I got this information from Sean, the real estate watchman. Sean, good luck, brother, and thank you for the intel. Now, I understand that what I just showed you is predominantly MLS, and in order to access MLS, you have to have a realtor license. So what I'm going to do now is show you guys how to use Zillow to do what I just did using MLS. Unfortunately, Texas does not come up here because it is a non-disclosure state. So I put Tampa, Florida, and all you guys got to do is remove the boundary. So I put Tampa, Florida, remove the boundary, okay? And instead of putting for sale, you're going to put sold. Because remember, we have to figure the average price per square foot over the last year. And all you got to do is hit the draw button right here, okay? So I'd hit this button, and depending on where the subdivision was, is I would draw a square or circle or whatever it is around the subdivision. So I'm only targeting this specific market. Then I hit apply right here. Now, look at this, guys. That's crazy. Look at all of these comps. So now I have 1,769 comps. So obviously this is more than one subdivision right here. This is probably a couple subdivisions, but it's just a really good way to dumb down the data. And then obviously I would add all of the ones that sold within the last year together and then divide by how many that I'm adding to get the average. And that's how you guys do it. Now, one more thing I want to show you. Let's go back to for sale right here, okay? We're going to remove the boundary. I'm going to go to more. I'm going to uncheck everything except foreclosures and auctions, because I want you guys to see how foreclosures are now coming to the market. Look, let me zoom out a little bit. These are all foreclosures right here, you guys, or auctions. Look at this. All of these little red dots right here. And you have the list. There's 118 in this area. It's all right here, you guys. And that's what you do to look at foreclosures in your own local market without having to use MLS. Once again, you guys, happy Monday. Sorry it took me so long to get this video out. I have been with Mitch Vexler, talking to state representatives, attorneys, and patriots to repeal property taxes. If you guys want to know what's going on right now, go to the homepage of our YouTube channel and then go to the post section, because we have a new bill that's in Texas. Our plans are to get the bill out of Texas Ledge and then into the hands of the Texas Ways and Means Committee. And if they don't take our bill up, we plan on marching and protesting to Austin. So we'll be calling on you, and we hope that you will join us in our fight to abolish property taxes forever and preserve homeownership like the Constitution intended. But either way, you guys, do me a favor, comment below. Let me know what you're going through. Give me some intel in your market, and always know I can't do this without you. Now, other than that, if you're out there investing in real estate, your life, your purchasing power, your understanding of the markets, you guys already know. I wish you luck, and I hope you win.